Laser sights increase confidence regardless of experience level, whether you're learning the fundamentals or overcoming aging eyes. Crimson Trace, making laser sight standard equipment. Visit crimsontrace.com to find a dealer near you.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
Back with you, Tom Gresham, visiting with my buddy Ray Oeltjen. We're at Ray's place out in the high desert of Oregon, just outside of Prineville, having a bunch of fun out here. Went out and did a little four-wheel riding yesterday, and of course the whole time, Ray, all we do is talk about guns, right?
What's up with that?
Yeah, well, strange, isn't that? Odd. The great part is Ray shoots from the correct shoulder, as do I, which would be the left side, for those of you who haven't figured that thing out. And so that works out. Do you have any idea, you probably don't, how many people you've taught to shoot?
Oh, it's hundreds and hundreds.
I bet it's thousands.
Yeah, it probably is. I put on seminars for a long time, and I still do on a smaller basis.
It's one of the things you really enjoy.
I love so much. It's just the good Lord gave me the ability to shoot, and I love to pass that on, and the joy of it, and there's nothing better than to see someone else breaking targets or hitting their target.
Right, and they turn around, they have that huge smile
every time.
Every time, and it's like, can I do it again?
Yes, exactly.
And the response is, you keep shooting, we'll get more ammo.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're having fun, we're going to keep doing this, right?
There's nothing more rewarding.
And the interesting thing there is, for whatever reason, it's always puzzled me. In the shooting world, generally speaking, in the general population, we understand that if you want to be a better tennis player or golfer, you take lessons.
Correct.
But for some reason, if you're a shooter, you just think, well, I'll just try harder.
Yeah.
Honestly, let me just tell you, I don't care what your game is, pistol, rifle, shotgun. You find a good instructor and get out there and spend, who knows, an hour, 2 hours, a half a day, you will come away a better shooter.
Yeah, and it really bothers me, some of the people that I know very well who have shot and do a lot of hunting that truly are pretty horrible shots. And it bothers me.
They really are, aren't they?
Yes, and they take offense at any instruction because, well, I've been shooting for 30 years. Well, you haven't been doing it very well.
You could do something badly for a long time, can't
yes, you can. And those are the toughest people to train, because they've ingrained those habits.
Sure, you have to undo a lot to get there.
Yes.
Yeah, every instructor I know says, I'd really rather have somebody that has no background,
absolutely,
no experience.
Absolutely.
Huh. Because you're starting from scratch, you can build it up the way it should be.
Yes, and women are easier to teach because they'll listen to you.
Oh, they don't suffer from that testosterone poison we talk about.
Exactly.
So what's the number one reason that people miss with a shotgun?
Well, they're not reading the target correctly, but I don't know that there's a number one reason. With a shotgun, so many people don't understand your eye is your back sight. Mm-hmm. And you know what happens if you move the back sight on a rifle?
Sure, you're going to miss.
Yes. And so your eye is the back sight. It has to line up with the barrel. So that is perhaps the number one problem, that people shoot their friend's shotgun, that doesn't fit them.
Doesn't fit them.
It's not like looking through a scope where you just line it up.
Where they're pointing it. And people say, well, I'm pointing it down there. Yeah, but that's not where it's shooting.
Yeah.
If the gun doesn't fit you.
And the other problem with a shotgun is that people aim at the target because they typically grow up shooting a rifle. And they aim at the target. And the only way you can hit a moving target, if you aim right at it, is if it's coming directly at you or directly away from you, which doesn't happen very often.
Right. Otherwise, you got to shoot where it's not.
That's exactly
where it's going to be.
Shoot where it's going to go.
There you go. Let me talk to Ron. He's on line 4. He's called us from Seabrook, Texas. Hey, Ron, I understand that you kind of had some interactions with the folks at Academy Sports.
Yeah, so when I got the text from Gun Talk saying Academy new policy, I decided to stop on my way home at the local academy and find out myself. And first I went to the counter, looked around, and sure enough, no modern sporting rifles were on display. And I asked the gentleman behind the counter if what I had heard was true, and he said, well, that depends. What did you hear? And I said that, that Academy took all their modern sporting rifles off display and that they're keeping track of large ammunition sales. And he said, you heard right. And I told him that I guess Cabela's just got a new loyal customer. And so after that, I went to the front counter and asked for the manager, waited for a while, and then they came back and said, well, the manager's in a meeting right now. Can we give her a message? And I said, yeah, you could just let her know that I'm not pleased with Academy's new policy. And they looked at me and they said, what new policy? So I told them about their new policy and that I would not be shot, that I had been a loyal, regular customer to Academy, and that I would not be coming back, and that I'd be shopping at the new Cabela's down the road from now on. And when I got home, I made sure to send an email to Academy, and I got the same canned response that you were talking about earlier. And
sure.
And, of course, they made the mistake of sending another email, how did we do with our customer service? And so I let them know how they did with their customer service.
Now take what you did, Ron, and let's magnify that times 100,000 or 1,000,000 of us all contacting Academy Sports, and you can do it by email. And, yes, you're going to get this canned response back, right, Ray? That's right. But somebody there is noticing. Somebody there is counting these.
Trust me, they are noticing it.
Yeah, because you worked in corporate enough. You know what's going on behind the scenes. Describe this this idea that somebody came, and Ron, thank you for the call. Somebody came up with this idea. They implemented it thinking, well, this is kind of namby-pamby, and we're not going to get any blowback on this. And now that they're starting to get blowback, what's actually going on?
Well, the number one thing that runs corporate decisions is profit. As it should be.
Sure.
But not profit at all costs. But this is going to have severe ramifications for them because Ron's not the only one that's done this. You know that. Perhaps a lot of them haven't done it as professionally as Ron, but nonetheless, the business starts going down. And they can't stand that in the long term. And someone is going to get called on the carpet for this at some point. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to be so ridiculously politically correct to the point of going broke.
Okay. I know that a number of us swore right after the Newtown shooting, the killings there, Dick's Sporting Goods got rid of all the AR-15s.
Absolutely.
And a lot of us said, that's it. We'll never, and I never have and never will step foot into a Dick's Sporting Goods.
Well, me neither.
If they had the fire extinguisher and I was on fire, I wouldn't step in there.
I stopped at that time.
Yeah, as did a lot of us. But it's that old deal of, yes, but we need to keep telling them why we're not shopping there.
That's the whole point. Yes, it's not just coincidental that their business is going down. This is the reason.
Right. And Academy Sports needs to be hearing from every one of us. You can go to their website, Academy Sports. I'm sure they have a comment section there, and just send them a note and say, look, I understand you've got a nice lineup there. I've shopped there before. I like your stores, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do business with you now because of this position you've taken.
Well, and that's why I appreciate what Ron said, because he went to the manager, asked for the manager,
right,
explained his situation, and I'm sure he did it in a polite way, as per his call.
Right.
And then he sent them an email. So they got the message.
Sure. And there's somebody who is counting these.
Oh, absolutely there are.
And now somebody on this Sunday when they're closed is having a conversation today saying, just how badly have we screwed up here?
Yes. And they sent out the survey, as they did to Ron, about how did we do?
Right.
Oh, my goodness. They don't do that for nothing.
Right.
They do it because they want to know, and they want to satisfy their customers, and yet they want to be politically correct to the point of absurdity.
There you go. So it's up to all of us to help them with their analysis by letting them know how we feel about this. Hey, Ray, hold on a second here. We're going to take a quick break, then we'll come back. We'll take your calls, 866-TALK-GUN. We are open lines this hour of Gun Talk. Join us. If you're looking for a safe and trusted way to sell your firearms, look no further than Dury's Gun Shop. I trusted them to sell my dad's collection. They built their business for over 50 years on honesty and customer service. Dury's Guns will buy any size collection or estate, none too big or too small. Selling your firearms to Dury's Guns is easy. Go with the pros. I trust Dury's Guns. DurysGuns.com.
Experts agree that the low-range variable rifle scope is best for most situations. Now, Trijicon offers a stunning 1-to-6 power variable in the AccuPoint line. Featuring a battery-free illuminated reticle, superior glass clarity, and rugged construction, it's the one scope you need for hunting and competition. Long eye relief, aircraft-grade aluminum housing, manual brightness override. See the 1-to-6 power AccuPoint at Trijicon.com. Trijicon.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
FN handguns bear the DNA of legends, of John Browning, the father of modern firearms, of the artisans and craftsmen who brought his genius to life, of the brave souls who defended our freedom on the front lines for the last 100 years, and the brave souls who defend it on the home front today. FN handguns. The DNA of legends in the palm of your hand. Ask for FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
Back with you, 866 Talk Gun. And we're still, of course, talking about the aftermath, the legal, the political, the public reaction aftermath to the terror attack in Orlando. I have been saying for, 7, 8, 9, actually 10 years now, actually, to think about it from 9/11 on. I said, look, there are going to be terror attacks in the United States, and they are going to be shooting attacks, and they are going to be in malls, and they're going to be in schools, and they're going to be in nightclubs. I've been saying that for more than 10 years now. We're now there. San Bernardino was a terrorist attack. Fort Hood was a terrorist attack. The Navy Yard was a terrorist attack. Orlando, the nightclub, was a terrorist attack. And yet there are people who are thinking, well, one of these days that might come here. Right? I just look at it and go, we've been at war for 30 years. Go back and somebody Google up the Achille Laurel and Leon Klinghoffer,
Indeed,
who got thrown off the side of the ship. We've been under attack since then. Constant terror attack. And some people still don't get it. And they want to say, but because of that, Ray, you shouldn't have the rifle that you like to hunt with.
Right. It's total insanity, and it's a deflection of the real cause, and it makes people feel more politically correct again. And I hate to keep using that term, but that's what's killing us.
It makes them feel somewhat superior somehow.
Of course.
It's actually interesting. It's one of the areas where people are quite literally proud to be ignorant.
Yes, indeed.
They don't want to know.
No.
I don't need to know. I don't need to know anything about this subject. I have an opinion.
Yes.
And you're going, well, would you say that about any other subject? I like being ignorant about this. Do not tell me anything about this subject
well,
matter.
Still, don't confuse me with facts.
Yeah.
My mind's made up.
It is. Well, let's talk to Frank. He's on line 3. He's coming out of New Jersey. Frank, I understand you've got a problem here.
Yeah, Tom, it's just terrible. I don't know if I'm ever going to be the same. I went out shooting, and they set me up with this high-powered gun, And my shoulder was so bruised and stuff, I actually went to get x-rays and just traumatized from the sound and the fact that when I pulled the trigger again after the first shot, it shot again. And it was one of those new guns, those Ruger 1022s and 22 caliber. It was just horrible. Just horrible.
Oh, my God. Must have been like shooting a bazooka.
Yeah, worse than that. I thought I had one of those rocket launchers, that they take down a plane with. It was really bad.
Okay, Frank, when you saw this article in the New York Post, did you have the same reaction as everybody else? Did you actually laugh?
Not only laughed, but it's so sad that people are speaking without knowing or have the knowledge. I wish they'd just go out and shoot once to see what it's all about. And I think their whole attitude and demeanor about this would all change because they
only if they're going to be honest about it, though. Only if they go into it openly and honest, because obviously this guy went in with a narrative already built. He had an agenda. He had the story written. All he needed was the photo of him shooting this rifle, but everything else, he didn't need to shoot it to be able to say all this nonsense he was saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was just pure bull, and it sounded like he can go work for Hillary. He's that good. It was just ridiculous.
Well, Frank, I hope you were able to seek treatment for your PTSD that comes from shooting a 22 long rifle in this awful semi-automatic. Because you're right, you shot it once. Oh my God, it's ready to shoot again. It's just the humanity. It's just awful. I mean, the tin cans that you could knock over with that are amazing. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate it. We laugh, Ray, but there are a lot of people who read this and go, oh, yeah, those are massively powerful firearms.
It just fulfilled everything I've always thought about them. They must be horrible.
Yes.
And this poor gentleman actually had to go through that just to bear witness to us of how bad it really is. It's just, oh my goodness, it's absurd.
It's quite amazing the willingness on the part of, in this case, the media, but also some of the politicians, where they will go. There was a politician in Florida this week who was being interviewed, and he said, well, these AR-15s that can shoot 700 rounds a minute. Wait, 700 rounds a minute. So somebody from, I can't remember, one of the organizations said, I will personally donate $50,000 to the charity of your choice if you can shoot 700 rounds in a minute from an AR-15.
I love it.
Because they ran they said, okay, let's 700 rounds. That would be 23 30-round magazines, and you would have like 2.3 seconds for each magazine.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. I don't care if you're Jerry Michulik or Bruce Pyatt.
Yeah, this guy is fast.
You can't do even our friend Doug Koenig can't do that, and he could do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
700 rounds a minute. It's nonsense.
It reminds me, if I may, of the photo op that they did with President Obama shooting a shotgun.
But that was real.
It's saying that he was an avid shooter. It actually did say that.
Oh, that's right.
There's proof that he is an avid sports shooter.
Okay, it's a guy who has shot a shotgun more than 1 million times, quite literally. You looked at that photo. What'd you see?
Well, if he's a shotgun shooter, I'm a rocket scientist. Everything about that photo was wrong. And it just, to me, it just was appalling just to look at that. Forget about the politics of it, but his stance, the way he was.
If you had seen him shooting at the range, and you saw that, you would have rushed up and go, whoa, 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 stop.
I probably wouldn't have, because I hate to impose upon people, but that was so ridiculous. It doesn't. Oh my goodness! And I had a few of my liberal friends that pointed that out to me, and I had to point out a few other things.
Yeah, so he's okay. He's not going to ban guns. He's a shooter. He's a gun guy.
Yeah.
No, actually, he would like to ban guns. And for those who think, they say, well, he doesn't really want to ban guns. Well, yes, actually he does.
Yes, he does.
In fact, this week, once again, as he has done for the last 9 years, he's called for another gun ban.
Yep.
He has continuously, constantly, relentlessly, ruthlessly call for gun bans.
Yeah.
Well, he started calling for this 2 years before he was
Oh, yeah, indeed,
so
you're right.
In his platform, when he was running, he said he wanted to reinstate the assault weapons ban.
Indeed, yes.
That's why I say 9 years,
yes.
because I'm figuring the 2 years before he got elected,
you're exactly right.
He had this position. And then if you go to the White House website, you can see it right now. His position on guns, he wants to reinstitute the Clinton gun ban. And those who say, well, but he doesn't want to ban guns.
No, they just want sensible.
He just wants to ban guns.
Sensible, they always use that.
Common sense.
Yeah, common sense.
Yeah, I like the common sense.
Laws, which means we want to take them all away, but we don't want to say that out loud.
Well, and we know we can't get them all at once. They slice and dice. It's like, okay, we can't get them all. What do we do? How about if we go for the small revolvers? We'll call them Saturday night specials. Well, we can't get all the rifles. How about if we get the big ones? We'll call them sniper rifles, 50 calibers. Well, how about if we go for the ugly ones? We'll call those assault weapons.
How about the cop killer bullet?
Oh, yeah, cop killer bullets, which never existed.
Never existed.
Never, for those who don't know, never existed, okay? There was a line of cartridges, the KTW, right? They were Teflon coated, but the Teflon didn't actually make them penetrate anything. It was to protect the barrel of the gun because they were tungsten, I think.
Yeah, tungsten carbide.
Tungsten carbide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 2020, the news channel did a video showing how it magically wended its way through that vest.
This would be the same people who blew up a truck by putting rocket motors on it because it wouldn't actually blow up for real.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
This would be the same type of media where CNN, every time they mentioned a semi-auto, they showed video of a full auto going off. And then you had John Zarella for CNN faking up the story where he had somebody shoot cinder blocks with a 223 and with a semi-auto, and it blew up the center block. And then he had him shoot the center block with another 223 that wasn't a semi-auto, and you couldn't see any impact at all.
Amazing.
Well, because they didn't actually hit the center block. I mean, faking the story, beginning to end, total fake. Jason Blair from the New York Times, but this was John Zarella for CNN. Still works for them. Should have been fired on the spot. Should be fired at this moment for faking the story. But it's what the media does when it comes to guns.
Yep. It was fitting their political agenda.
Yeah, exactly. And then they get caught, and then you get, who's the guy? I can't remember right now. I'll think of it. Who was interviewing Wayne LaPierre, and he holds up the AR magazine there in New York City. It's a crime for him to have it there. The prosecutor looked at it and said, well, it's a crime, but we're not going to do anything about it. David Gregory's the guy. We're not going to do anything about it because we actually are okay with the message. We'll be right back.
Want your opinion to make a difference? Log on to our website and take the Gun Talk poll, www.guntalk.com. Now, once again, opinion-based regular contributor for the Washington Times, here's Tom.
All right, we're back with you. Visiting with Ray Oeltjen, my buddy here, and taking your calls. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in there, or just dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. I got an email from John. He says, hey, at that nightclub in Orlando, wasn't there an armed security guard? I don't know if the guard was armed or not. There was a security guard. People have said, well, gee, how could you possibly get a long gun past the security guard? It's fairly easy. You walk up, you shoot the security guard, and then you go into the area where it is a government-sponsored killing zone because everyone in there is prohibited from having the means for self-protection. So we shoot the security guard. Now there is no security. And we walk in where everyone is required to be defenseless. And people say, well, you call the police. Okay, great. How long did it take them to solve this problem? 3 hours. As Clint Smith used to say, still does at his place in Thunder Ranch, you have the rest of your life to solve the problem. How long you live depends on how well you do that.
Indeed.
So there you go. Yes. Ray, some people just don't think about the what ifs or how could you and I love people say, well, I never thought of that or I never imagined that. I said, well, you need a better imagination.
Yes.
How could somebody get into a place that has security?
Well, it never happens until it happens. And it does happen.
It's actually fairly simple. You walk in, you shoot the security guard. Here's another question for you. What if you're in a place like that and it turns out the security guard is the one who starts attacking people?
Now what do you do?
Whoa! There's a curveball for you.
That couldn't happen.
Yeah, except when it does.
Except for when it does.
Yeah. So, okay, now your security has now become your attacker, and you have agreed to give your safety and the safety of your family, if you have your family with you, to people that you don't know, to strangers you don't know, who don't care about you and do not have your best interests at heart.
Right. And it's just it boggles the imagination that someone could fall for that. They actually, I have people that I know that actually feel safe when they walk into a gun-free zone. It horrifies me. I don't go in there anyway.
Try not to. Anyway, yeah. If we do, sometimes my vision blurs out and it's hard to see the signs. I don't know what to tell you about that. I think it's a vision issue thing.
I had a quick story when Texas first came out with concealed carry a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And this was Texas, for crying out loud. But they had a major showdown there, and on the last day I took my staff at Leupold to this very, very nice restaurant. We had reservations. Mm-hmm. It was an expensive place. They deserved it. Walk in there, said, no guns allowed. I asked for the manager. He came out, and I said, I have this whole group of people here. We're going to spend a lot of money, but we can't go in. He said, why not? And I said, because you don't allow guns in here, so no one is safe. So I said, we're taking our business elsewhere. And we went to a very much lower class restaurant. My whole staff was completely in favor of what I did.
No kidding.
The manager's just standing there with his mouth hanging open. A year later, that sign was down.
Well, that's the other thing. We actually can be very effective at this. I have seen a lot of signs come down when people do just as you do. I want to speak to the manager, not the person
at the desk.
At the desk, because they don't have any skin in the game.
Yeah.
The manager is the one who's being judged on the basis of the sales.
Right.
And then it's also a nice little added benefit if you can send them a picture of the receipt of the other restaurants you go to. Every time you go to the other restaurant, say, this is money I would have spent with you, but
yes,
we're not welcome there.
Right.
And then again, the next week, this is money I would have spent with you, but we're still not welcome there. But if you take the signs down, I'll be happy to come back and do business with you.
There you go.
Simple as that. And it does bring down signs, doesn't it?
I promise you it does. And it's happened all over the states when they first come out with concealed carry. So many states have started putting these signs up. And a year later, the signs are gone. Because it's just costing them too much business.
Exactly. Exactly it. Let's see here. Charlie's with us on line 4 out of Illinois. Hey, Charlie, you got an AR-15?
Yes, I just put one together. And okay. I was outside in. I want to make sure I had to rest it on the grip part and put a sandbag on the forearm. Is that a good thing, or do we need to put one underneath the buttstock on it?
You did one fore and aft, both ends of it. Here's the thing. The gun, and Ray, you've probably sighted in at least as many rifles as I have. The gun needs to be where it essentially won't move if you let go of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It has to be totally stable.
Yeah, and I'm talking about literally let go of the gun, and if it falls over, you don't have a good rest. It needs to be a sandbag in front, a sandbag in the back, or something in the back, and you can do it with a little, almost like a sock filled with sand or rice or something at the back. And if you're shooting right-handed, for instance, your right hand's on the grip and the trigger, and your left hand is tucked on the bag underneath your armpit, and it can squeeze the bag, and as you squeeze it, it raises the back end, and you let go of it, the back end goes down, and you can actually adjust that way. But you don't know where your rifle's shooting if you have rested any hard part of your rifle on something that's hard. You might explain that, Ray.
Well, you were doing a pretty good job of it, but you need to be totally stable because you are sighting it in. So you need to be absolutely certain where it is hitting and where the bullet impacts. So the more stable you can get the rifle, the better you are.
If you've got a hard part of the rifle resting on something that's hard, the rifle can actually recoil. It's a bounce effect.
Yes.
Whether it's a barrel or any part of it can come off of the table, and where you hit shooting that way is not where you're going to hit when you're shooting it offhand, for instance.
Well, and if you put a hard surface against a hard surface, you don't have enough friction there, so it can the slightest movement can change the bullet dynamic considerably of where it impacts.
If you don't have sandbags, and Jim just reminded me of something I've actually done, old blue jeans, cut the legs off of them. They make pretty good sandbags.
Yeah.
And whether you sew them or I don't know how to sew, so I use rubber bands. I just twisted them up and used rubber bands around both ends, fill them with sand. Now I've got some pretty good sandbags.
Well, I use shot bags because I load so much shotgun ammunition.
Right.
And so I save all the shot bags and fill them with sand. And, it works great.
Works perfectly. There you go. So basically that's what you need to know about that. How to sight in a rifle. It's done wrong so many times. It's unbelievable. I think I've told the story about the time I was at the range and watched took three guys to sight in a rifle. It's like a joke, right? Yeah. How many guys does it take to sight in a rifle? There was one to shoot it, and they had it clamped into this hard vise, and two to move the vise after each shot. I know, I'm not making this up. And one guy's looking at this scope, and he's having these guys move this vise back and forth so he can get it on target again to shoot it for the next shot. And it was like taking them 20 minutes to shoot 3 shots.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was just, I walked over and says, fellas, can I help you here? And it's like, in 5 minutes I had their rifle sighted in, and we're good. And then the rest of us can continue to shoot because we're having to wait for these guys the whole time.
Well, I had a fun experience with some friends who shoot a lot, but they're sighting their rifles in. And we had them I border sighted them for them, so they were on paper. And we went out 50 yards, and I said, you should be able to hit paper. So, yes, they all hit paper. And with the first one, he hit paper, and I said, and we had the rifle secured pretty well. And I said, okay. Well, I sat down, and I aimed I said, you were aiming right at the bullseye? And he said, yes. So I aimed right at the bullseye, and I dialed the scope over to the bullet hole.
Right.
He said, well, that's not going to work. That's going to make it shoot over there. I said, no, it isn't.
It's the two-shot sighting in.
Two-shot sighting in. The next shot was at a bullseye. He said, how in the world could that happen?
Well, you can either adjust the scope to the bullet hole or the bullet hole to the scope. Yeah. Either one works as long as they're pointing to the same place.
Exactly. So, now you're sighted in.
There you go.
2 shots.
That's true. But it's a good point. And Jim said, don't clamp or lock down the rifle. It does need to be able to recoil and rise off the bag.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that's going to.
I didn't mean clamp it down. But,
no, exactly right.
Stabilize.
But I think C-clamps work very well for that. Especially if you use it on the tailgate of your truck.
Yeah.
If you C-clamp your gun to the tailgate of your truck, it works great. It's not a problem.
I prefer to weld it.
Oh, I like that. Hold on to that thought. 866 Talk Gun. Be right back.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
I'm just as good as these guys. When will I get my chance to prove it?
Your chance is now. American Marksman is a nationwide series of target shooting competitions designed to give you your big break. Think you've got what it takes to go home with $50,000? Visit ammarksman.com to register today. That's ammarksman.com. American Marksman. Are you the one?
You like free stuff, right? You like good deals, and you want more guns, ammo, and accessories. So, get all of that with the free smartphone app, Gun Dealio. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you'll get special offers and deals when you walk into a gun store. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Who wouldn't want that? Gun Dealio at the App Store and Google Play. GunDealio.com.
FN handguns bear the DNA of legends, of John Browning, the father of modern firearms, of the artisans and craftsmen who brought his genius to life, of the brave souls who defended our freedom on the front lines for the last 100 years, and the brave souls who defend it on the home front today. FN handguns, the DNA of legends in the palm of your hand. Ask for FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
A great trigger can make you a better shooter. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. Installation is easy. Give yourself the Timney Trigger advantage. To see more and order online, Go to TimneyTriggers.com. That's TIMNEY Triggers.com.
Welcome back to Gun Talk. We're talking a little bit about Academy Sports. It's a big chain of sporting goods stores. They have, football, basketball, track, all that kind of stuff. But they also have a big outdoor section, lots of fishing, lots of hunting, and a lot of guns. And following the terror attack in Orlando a week ago today, they pulled the modern sporting rifles, AR-15s, from the shelves and hid them from public view as though it would traumatize the public to see modern rifles sitting out there. Now, you could still ask for them, and my analogy is kind of like pornography, where it's in the back, but we're not going to put it out where children could possibly see it. These are, after all, oh my God, they're rifles, like the kind that are used in the national championship matches for shooting, and the kind that are used by millions of people for hunting, and the kind that are used by millions of people for recreation, and the kinds that are actually used by a lot of people, or they own them for self-protection. So Academy, the cowards that they are, hid these guns in the back, and a lot of people like me have said, great, you want to do that? Fine, I have no problem with that. You just understand that I'm never going to spend $1 with you again. I will drive across town. I will do whatever it takes. I will suffer whatever the inconvenience is to make sure that I do not give you $1 of my money. But that's not enough, is it, Ray? We still have to let them know.
Well, absolutely. We do have to let them know so that it's not coincidental, or someone within the corporate world, within Academy, can excuse this away as just a coincidence.
A downturn of economy or whatever. We had a 5% dip. And for those who don't know, if they had a 5% dip,
trust me,
somebody's getting his tail torn up, right?
But there's an old axiom in business that what gets written gets done. And you write stuff down, and no one can avoid it. You can't say, no, that didn't happen. That doesn't exist. And it's amazing how well that works. If you have a problem or an idea or whatever, put it in writing. Mm-hmm. And then it doesn't disappear. They can't just throw it away.
You can't pretend it didn't happen.
Can't pretend it didn't exist.
Okay, so what that means is we all have a responsibility right now.
Yes, we do.
Right now, in the next few days, today perhaps, go online to the Academy Sporting Goods website. They'll have a comment section, and just let them know kindly, politely, professionally, how you feel about them treating modern sporting rifles as pornography.
If you call them names and are disrespectful, you fall right into the category that they would like to stereotype us.
Good point. And they will completely discount your message.
Exactly. Say, well, see, I told you, that's the kind of people they are.
Yep, exactly right. Hey, line 3, John's with us out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. Hey, John, I like this observation that you're making here.
Well, yeah, you were talking about Obama shooting a shotgun. I don't recall that, but what cracked me up, I was thinking back when John Kerry was running for president, and I believe he's going to go pheasant hunting in Iowa. I can be corrected on that. But he walked into a store, and he said, you got one of them hunting guns? I don't think he's ever said you got one of them and hunting in the same sentence in his life.
I don't think a Northeast elite, a liberal, I don't think he talks like that at all.
Well,
but he thinks that's how we talk, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what's, the average American out in this country, I mean, you can tell a BSer and a phony faster than anything. And that cracked me up.
Absolutely, John. Thanks, John. Ray, it also occurs to me that, with John Kerry and even President Obama, they pretended to be gun people. They pretended to be hunters. With Hillary Clinton, that's out the window, and now she makes no bones about it, that she's a gun banner, that she doesn't like guns, she doesn't think that we should have a gun, and she thinks, and she says the Supreme Court got it wrong when they said we have a right to own guns. Something's changed here.
Well, indeed it has, but she feels she's playing to her audience, and there's a fever out there among the anti-gunners right now, and she's trying to cater to that.
Absolutely. So she now feels like it's safe to come out of the gun ban closet and tell people, I'm for banning guns.
make no mistake, when she says, I want to ban guns,
she means it.
She doesn't mean something else. She wants to ban guns. There you go. Be right back. All righty, back with you. Line 1, Chuck is out of Oklahoma. Hey, Chuck, what you thinking here?
Well, years ago, there was a guy in New York City. He was called the Zodiac Killer. Do you remember anything about that case?
A little bit.
Okay, well, he was killing people at a distance with pinpoint accuracy, and they found 9mm shells like at the scene. When they finally caught up with this guy, of course, they're looking for the gun, and they found like pipes and stuff like that. So here, what he was using was a zip gun, which is nothing more than putting pipes and fittings together and using the 9mm rounds. So there's two ways to look at that. If you have a situation where you get like a terrorist gets bumped from a let's say like a watch list, or they eventually take away like guns or whatever. Well, for about $10, you can put something together and use it just as well as you can a manufactured unit.
Well, it's an interesting point. Of course, we've known about zip guns for a long time, Ray. I mean, we've known about that. Yes. I guess two things here. One is that, yes, you could tell bad guys you can't have guns, but gee whiz, they are sure able to get them anyway, just as we ban heroin. It seems to make its way in, and they'll make them if they can't. One thing I want to just touch on here, though, for Chuck is that, and thanks for the call, I don't want us to start thinking about, well, this is what we could do if they ban guns, because if they ban guns, you won't be able to do anything, because they'll say, look, first offense, we're going to put you in jail for 20 years. You're not going to do that. Or they, look, all we have to do is look at history where the Jews who hid guns, if they found a gun in the home, they pulled the entire family out in the street and shot everyone in the family, including the children. Well, gee, that would never happen here. Yeah, really? Okay. Here's something, a little exercise for you to do. The Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership actually got a translation of the original, and this, I never use this word, okay? I never, but I'm going to do it this time. The original Nazi gun control law. The Gun Control Act of the 1968 in the United States is an almost identical translation of the original Nazi gun control law. Well, why would that be? Well, because our Senator, Tom Dodd, remember it was called the Dodd Bill?
Yes.
Remember that?
Sure do.
He served on the Nuremberg trials. He was in Germany. He used the German law as the model for our 1968 Gun Control Act.
I was not aware of that.
Yes, it's almost an identical word-for-word translation. So for those who say, well, gee, that could never happen here, a lot of people would say, oh, no, we're a half a century into this, because this was 1968. So we are a half a century into this, of it happening here. So the whole idea of, well, I'm going to bury my guns in the backyard.
That'll work.
Well, if you do that, didn't they already get them?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, if you have no access to them.
Why don't you just cut the barrels off of all of them?
Yeah.
Then,
say, well, I'll have, no, you won't have them back there. You have disposed of their guns for them.
Yes.
That's the wrong way to think about this, people. The right way to think about this is, I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going to spend money. I'm going to spend my time, which is the more valuable commodity, right?
Yes.
I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to join every gun support group, every gun owners group I can join. I'm going to go and personally call on my state legislators and my U.S. senator and my U.S. representative, and I'm going to talk to every one of them. And I'm never going to let up. I'm going to be absolutely relentless about this. I'm going to be the biggest pain in the butt anybody's ever heard of. This is what is going to drive me, because I'm going to do this, because if I don't, my children, your grandchildren, won't be able to shoot, my friend.
And I'm also going to learn to speak intelligently to my friends and family about this.
Tell you what, let's pick that up in the next hour, because I think that is a skill set that we need to help people develop, okay? We will do that. Talking with Ray Oeltjen, who is one of the most eloquent people on this and has a pretty good technique
of talking to people, even when they sit next to him on an airliner. You'll love it.